Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to another session of Book Reading Club of ECDF. And today we are here to read out a chapter from the book Early Childhood Development, Universal Perspectives by Global Experts. And I'm joined by Girija Gopinath, my co-author in our chapter, The Impact of Mindfulness. So ECDF has been doing this monthly book clubs, and we call it Between the Covers. And we have been making an attempt to get to our readers, to get to the parents, to the collaborators, and to the stakeholders to understand what is in this book, and also about different perspectives related to early childhood development. So welcome, Girija, and I'm so glad that you were a contributor, co-author to this chapter that we had written. And it's amazing that we came up with this. And I would like to ask you a few things before we read out some parts of our chapter. So what basically why did you decide to write on mindfulness? Like, we both had the same feeling of writing about it, but why did you say yes when I put out the proposal to you?
Okay, first of all, thank you so very much, Dr. Vasavvi. It was great, interacting with you while doing the book and even today. So why did I decide on mindfulness? First off, as you know very well, I'm quite passionate about this subject. And I know mindfulness can make a huge difference in the way we experience our life, our thoughts, our beliefs, our responses is absolutely and completely different once we understand the essence of mindfulness. So that's the main reason. Most importantly, the world we live in today is moving and changing faster than ever. As adults, we carry so much to do on our shoulders. And this, we pass it on to our children, to the people we live with, we work with, career goals, social expectations, academic outcomes. In fact, simply going through life and developing a sense of self and belonging can be so tough today. And the outcome of all this, stress. In fact, I would say, toxic stress. So then let's understand why we have so much of stress in our life. Stress occurs when life demands consistently outpaces our ability to cope with those demands. As a response plan to a meaningful and successful life, we all need an anchor that will help us calm down and navigate through challenges with awareness. And what better tool than mindfulness? The best part is that mindfulness can be easily integrated, in our day-to-day life. So those are the reasons why I decided that, mindfulness it is.
That's amazing, absolutely wonderful. And I think, yeah, we did a very great job with this chapter, because we've touched a lot in this as regards mindfulness with the early, children in their early childhood years, which is my core competency because I work in this domain, and as well as mindfulness for the adults. So when you have written your part of the chapter or the article, basically you wrote it more on the technical part, technical bit of it, mindfulness and the science of it.
Yeah.
So would you elaborate a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So let me take you through, what is mindfulness and why. So I would like to read out, go to page 107 and read out the basic definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness means paying attention in a particular way, on purpose. When we're talking about on purpose, we're talking about being very clear, clarity of communication, understanding, mindset, and all of that. In the present moment, when we're talking about present moment, in the here and now, non-judgmentally. When we're saying non-judgmentally, we are being open to another person's views, which means we are being kind, we are being curious, and we are being compassionate. So why is mindfulness important? As I told you that, this is all about science. A lot of people think that it's some voodoo magic that, you meditate and everything will go away, or else people think that it is religion. It's neither voodoo magic, nor is it religion. It's a very simple thing of being in the present moment and knowing exactly where you are, how you are, and having an absolute, awareness of self and the other person and the situation that we are in. So some of the components that is very, very important and has touched me when I was doing mindfulness as a practitioner and as a learner was, the three important components. One is on purpose attention. Today we talk about attention deficit. A lot of people are unable to be there completely and totally with another person or even with their own self. The mind wanders, the mind shifts every moment. Being in the present moment, again, it's talking about being in the here and now. We spoke about being non-judgmental. These are three important components of mindfulness. If you want to read, if you want to know more about the components, probably you may want to go through, chapter of impact of mindfulness, page 110.
Okay, and so when we talk about mindfulness, we try to, imbibe these qualities or make mindfulness a way of life from a practice. And in order to make it a way of life for children from the early childhood years, adults play a major role, right? So you have dealt with that bit in this chapter about, adults being mindful and how they can model mindfulness in order to, inculcate these qualities in a little child. So can you say a little bit about mindfulness for the adults and its benefits, and how these adults who are more mindful can actually, deliver or get the same feeling for the children who they are working with?
Yeah, so, my vision while writing for this very obviously was, from the adult perspective, because adults obviously have an impact on children, right? Research says that, brain like our muscles can be developed. We can train our brain, which is our mind, and our brain is constantly changing in response to situation and experiences around us. We can train our brain to take charge and control or manage our emotions. With mindfulness practice every day, we can rewire our brain to function in a healthy way. When our brain functions in a healthy way, our response to the world that we live in, life and people around us completely changes. We become caring, attentive, curious, open, kind, non-judgmental, and most importantly, compassionate in the way we treat ourselves and others. That's the main vision, a world of aware, compassionate human beings who understand their place in this, universe. So that was my main reason and vision for, for writing for adults.
So did you share a few strategies for adults to practice and imbibe mindfulness into their lives?
Yeah, so, today digital has taken over our life like anything, right? We also have something called family dinner. So very obviously we have dinner in our houses, and we can have family dinner. So how about putting away the digital while having family dinner and enjoying your food, the taste of it, the way it is made, and just being with another person. So that's mindful eating. Similarly, when you're doing one thing, think about more about unitasking. Multitasking, is adulated all over, but multitasking doesn't really help our brains to function more effectively. So, another thing is that do one thing at a time, right? You finish off that thing and then get on to another thing. Another technique I would say is just sit quietly for some time, peacefully in a day, and reflect. That helps you, slow down your brain and the brain waves. Yeah, so that helps you do that. When you're doing your cooking, do it mindfully. Be there completely. if you're going for a walk, enjoy nature rather than thinking of, something else. Try not to carry your digital iPod or whatever. Just go for a walk and enjoy nature, enjoy the trees, enjoy the, atmosphere, enjoy universe, enjoy the bird. So these are all simple things that you can do in a day-to-day basis. Also, there are some scientific techniques to mindfulness. So if you go to page 106 and 107, there are two techniques that I have mentioned, because mindfulness, as I said, has a lot of neuroscience and brain science towards it. So there are some research as well with reference to mindfulness. The two main strategies, techniques for mindfulness is mindfulness-based reduction, stress reduction. So it reduces stress, and mindfulness-based cognitive therapy. And this improves the way you behave, with others, right? So these two approaches really helps us in our life to navigate our life in a more simplistic manner, and also in a very productive manner.
Absolutely. So I think to get more details about it, we need to read the chapter in detail.
Right.
And, that is how it kind of blends, the adult mindfulness blending into the mindfulness of children they are around. And, actually these skills, when adults are kind of modeling something, the children around them basically copies. And if the adult is mindful, if the adult is, they have the regulation, self-regulation, and the focus in their lives, so it comes naturally to the children, and it's like, that's how we can go about it.
Yeah, because children learn from seeing. So you can't really teach anything to children. You have to, because they mirror it. So you have to inculcate and incorporate it in your life. So I would like to ask you, Dr. Vasavvi, when we decided to do this chapter together, you chose on children. So what was your thought behind mindfulness for children?
See, Girija, like you already know, I've been working with children for the past 23 years. It's 22 decades plus. And I have seen that, the world gradually, like when we were children, it was quite different. When our parents were children, it was all the more different. And the world is moving towards chaos from what we have seen.
Yeah.
And, with the onset of the pandemic, it became more so. And that was a time when mindfulness, as in, mindfulness practice has been there since times immemorial. When we talk about the history, I had written about the history of mindfulness in this chapter. So it's more about religion. It's like the history of mindfulness was like that till it was made more scientific, till it was made more neuroscience oriented. So I feel that mindfulness was always there, and children also kind of imbibe these feelings when they, these practices when they saw their parents. But in a chaotic world like today, where even the parents, they are in a state of anxiety, stress, fear, and maybe defocus at times.
Yeah,
I think practicing mindfulness with children has become very, very important, so that these practices gradually become their way of life. Like, certain things that we do, it's gradually becomes a way of life, and it becomes our daily practice. Like even if we call it yoga, even yoga is like that. First, we need to do it. So when I thought of writing, because this is my core competency, early childhood years, and how to deal with them, and I am a propagator of peace. So I was talking about and thinking about mindfulness, even with my colleagues. I was talking about, how can we imbibe these kind of things in children, and what are the best practices through which we can do it within and outside the classroom, and how can we make, because mindfulness for children is quite different from that of from adults. And here,
very true.
Because children, the adults are mindful when they're practicing mindfulness, but children have to do it in a, in a subconscious level, where they do not actually realize this is mindfulness, but it gets ingrained into their personality. And that is why I was, thinking about what are the various good ways, easy ways in which we can inculcate these habits. And now that I already said the children are very, because of the digital world, which you even mentioned, everybody is defocused. So I thought it's very nice if we can get these practices into the schools. Okay. And even we talk with the parents about getting, practicing mindfulness with their children at home.
Yeah.
So this is how I thought about, introducing mindfulness in our curriculum so that it becomes, again, like I said, a part of our lives, and it helps them regulate the emotions, label their emotions, understand how they feel, stay focused, stay in the present, and feel what is around them. Because
Be
when we are
aware.
not mindful, we are either moving here or
Yeah.
there, we're just shifting.
Yeah.
But being in the moment, being in the present is very important. And that is why I thought about bringing this to the parents and to the educators through this chapter.
So how will mindfulness benefit children? You said that you are, practicing it in your school as well. Are there any visible outcomes that you can see in children who are practicing mindfulness?
See, when we talk about children practicing mindfulness, like I already said, it needs to be introduced in capsules, very small capsules. They'll do short, very small breathing exercises. They'll, do some kind of focus activities. They'll do work with the nature, observing nature, like you said, during work. So when these have been practiced since last 2 years, I've in fact made some notes on, children who have been regularly practicing mindfulness, not in their home settings. I'm not sure about that, but at least in our schools, I saw that children have really gained, because it helped them improve their focus, their concentration, more or less, emotional self-regulation. They have to work more on it, because these are very little children. So we cannot say now they are completely in control of the emotion. That is a wrong thing to say, but they have improved in regulating their emotions. They have more improved physical and mental health and overall well-being. And I've also seen that, children who used to be stressful, because even for children, there are a lot of things that bring about stress to their lives. Absolutely. So they have started, kind of staying less stressed, more happy, more into where they are, like, this moment. So that I think kind of reduces their stress. And it has also helped them build up their cognitive abilities, performance skills, and the executive functions. So mindfulness has umpteenth benefits, but we have seen that, there are a lot of work that needs to be done in the children's space, because to get these things, to see the visible outcome of mindfulness practices with children will take us another 1-2 years, because, in order to get this everything aligned, or to get all the data that how they are doing well, so that will require a little bit of time. But I feel that it's getting them into a lot of plus in their lives. Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. So in similar lines, even for adults, we have understood that, with mindfulness practice, because it involves intentionally paying attention to the moment and non-judgmental awareness, as we spoke about, it benefits people in their mental and emotional well-being. Like some of the reasons why mindfulness is beneficial is that, it reduces stress in an adult, which means individuals become more aware of their thoughts, feelings, bodily sensations by being in the present moment. Improve mental clarity. When people practice mindfulness, when they train their mind to be more focused and more attentive, they are able to concentrate better, make better decisions, solve problems efficiently. Emotional regulation, as you rightfully said, yes, it allows you to observe emotions without immediately reacting, and rather responding, to challenging situations with calmness and clarity. Similarly, one of the things that is noticed in people who practice mindfulness is self-awareness. They cultivate a very deep understanding about themselves, because they observe their thoughts, they are able to observe their emotions, they're able to observe patterns of behavior, which means it impacts their behavior as well, right? So human being becomes more resilient, and hence, with all of this, relationships improve, physical health improves. So it's important to note that mindfulness is a skill that requires practice and commitment. And by integrating mindfulness into our daily life, we can experience these benefits, lead a more balanced, fulfilling, and meaningful existence.
Absolutely, very rightfully said. And I would also like to, talk about mindfulness practices with the little children, what the educators can do.
Yeah.
And probably, like you said, nature walk, observing nature. Also, that day I was discussing with a little child, just I got her a leaf and I told, observe this leaf, every vein of this leaf. And she was
Yeah.
very intentionally observing it. And
Yes.
it was so beautiful because she said, ma'am, this is like this. She was completely absorbed in that leaf and in that moment. And it was really, I think, something very, I feel very positive about that. And then we also have some other ways in which we can, like slow eating, like you have said,
Yeah.
because our grandmother, my grandmother, used to particularly say, chew very slowly,
Yes.
swallow very slowly. All these things, they did not name it as mindfulness, but
Yeah.
they used to tell us to have these practices, which I now understand that she may not have had the name to it, but she knew how to stay mindful. They would, go out in the morning on the grass, stand on the, grass which is dew, and that gives you that feeling
Yeah.
that,
Yeah. You feel fresh.
yeah,
Yeah.
you feel fresh and aware. You
Yeah.
are aware of your body, you're aware of your existence, at that moment. So for children, there are many mindfulness practices that I've shared in this chapter. And it's, I think anybody who reads it would get a lot of takeaways that they can use in their schools, in their homes, to inculcate mindfulness practices and make it a habit, and not just leave it as a one day affair, but a regular practice, a regular habit in their lives.
Yeah. Very true. Very true. So
So,
mindfulness is very, very important. In fact, at certain times when we practice mindfulness, people will see that they find peace, because the mental chatter stops. And that can
yeah,
happen. And we all can experience that moment if we regularly do meditation practice, just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It calms us. It really calms us, allows us to take good decisions.
absolutely. And if children imbibe these qualities from early years,
Yeah.
definitely they'll grow up to be individuals who are more aware, who are more empathetic, compassionate, peaceful, and probably, we will add two drops to this, whole thing of peace, because
Yeah.
we require, peace, and we are looking for peace. So I think when we talk about peace, we have this three kinds of sources of peace. First, one is the inner peace, one is social peace and peace with nature. So mindfulness allows you to have the inner peace, which will, kind of translate into social peace, peace with other people, and also
Yeah.
peace with nature. So I
Absolutely.
think this chapter would sum it up, the essence of mindfulness, why we need it, why the adults need to be mindful. And Girija, I would like to, say about the other chapters in this book, which are really, really very interesting. We are already having a lineup of the contributors who would be talking about their chapters. So Amrit Nagpal says about the neuroscientific findings on how stories affect the brain and why educators and parents must include storytelling in classroom and at home. So this chapter is very relevant both for the educators and parents. Again, Abigail Carr, she contributed a chapter on parents, caregivers, and educators who have a special kind of influence to empower children to make a change, in the world. So this, I've read this chapter, and it's something which will give you a lot of insight, fresh perspective. Carrie Sutton writes about uh, children and their emotions, and how, we can teach them the skills and the language that they need, and the emotional regulation. Again, it is related to mindfulness in one way. And Lydia Travani, she writes about the wholeness of writes that the wholeness of one person becomes possible because movement allows one to build a relationship with space. So she is a nature educator, and she talks about nature being our environment, being our third educator, our third teacher. It has a very, very big role to play. And before we wind up, I would like to introduce the next chapter reading that would happen in this book club. And that would be by Mandy Worsley and Julie Robinson. They are co-founders of Mini Mind Matters from UK. And their chapter is about the power of positive self-talk, positive self-affirmation, believing in oneself, and putting that feeling into oneself. And the chapter starts with this saying by J.R. Inter: trust your inner creator and let go of your inner critique. So this is a very interesting line to start with. And I believe this again would be a very interesting book reading session by them. And they would be talking about the nuances of the power of positive self-talk. And before we wind up, I would like to say the book is available in Amazon and Flipkart. We'll be sharing the links to order the book from there. And I would request Girija to come up with her closing remarks of this session.
So thank you, Dr. Vasavvi. It was great. And most importantly, what I like about this book is, is the painting behind. It's so beautiful. It's so lovely. It makes you feel go back to school. So it's a beautiful one. Yeah. So thank you so very much. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the entire process, right from the time we interacted and then we decided on the topic and the way we decided how it should, flow to now. It's really beautiful. I just missed, the book launch, but nevertheless, we will have.
We missed you. We missed you in the launch event, and we look forward to more. To more such books coming up from ECDF, which would definitely be a lot of value for the educators as well as for the parents. And I would, like to end this session by thanking all our readers who have ordered this book. And we have got a lot of responses from school libraries because they're keeping it in their libraries for their educators to go through and, kind of use it for even curriculum development in insights into that. And then there are a lot of parents who have ordered for this books, or both online and as well as the copies that are with me. So I think this book, if it makes a change to even the people who we reach out, I think we can make a lot of difference to this world.
Please order this book and have it a part of your library. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.